Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So very excited because I got the brand new Anastasia Beverly Hills Cosmos palette. This is the third palette that she came out with, or she's come out with in this new formula packaging. And I have the other two, so I had to get this one. So yes, it is the Cosmos eyeshadow palette. It was released on June 6th. It had like a day pre-release, and then I did order expedited shipping so I could get it here and put up a video as fast as possible. So we are going to go over it today. Okay, so as you can see, the box, here is the box. It's got the back, which has got shows the shadows. Shadows are made in the USA, which I always forget to mention, so I did remember today. And then the packaging is very similar. So here's the packaging. Now I have already used it, but I haven't used it, I have swatched it. But here it is, and then I'll input here a clean video of before I was untouched. And it's a really pretty palette. Now I had seen the promo pictures, and it's definitely different in person than what I originally saw. I do really like it, but I will say when I swatched it, I'm not so sure. I did have some problems, and I'll show you right now. This one here, Dark Matter, this one it's a dark shade, and it just didn't swatch that great. Now I haven't used it yet, so I might really like that because a darker shade, it might be one that I don't want it to be very pigmented. But I'll try it right now. But it seems very, very dry. Now it looks here, but actually it's swatched better here, but it's just a lot lighter than I thought. But I don't know, maybe I will really like it. It was just something that I struggled with. So here are the swatches that I did. I did make a YouTube short, TikTok of the swatching. So I will post a link in the description box and also up as a card. But the swatches are really pretty. The shimmers are really pretty. Now, one thing I will say that just kind of is bothering me is that you have the, it's got 6 mattes, but it has really 5 mattes. So the 5 mattes are on the bottom, and then there's like this duochrome at the bottom as well. But then this shade Galaxy right here is kind of a matte with, I think, like glitter in it, and it's almost a matte, but it has some shimmer, but it's not like a real true shimmer. So I just kind of wish, and I understand that there's probably a layout kind of just for my own, I really wish it was kind of at the bottom, just so that all the mattes were at the bottom. That one shimmer in the middle with all the, it's just bothering me. I don't know if it bothers anybody else, but it bothers me. But other than that, I think the palette is beautiful. So just kind of comparing to the other two palettes, now I'm getting it all dirty because I have this, so let me clean my hand. Okay, that's better. So, you can see here, it's, I don't know what the packaging, but it's not any sort of special material. And then you have the Nouveau, is kind of like almost like a fabric. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison here. Let's see. So here's the Nouveau and the Cosmos on the bottom. So very, you could definitely see that they're kind of like cousins. And then we have the Rose Metal, which again is kind of a little bit shinier, definitely a grungier type palette. So this one, you're not gonna have anything really similar. So definitely more grungy. I like both palettes a lot. I definitely like the Nouveau more than the Rose Metals, just because this is very, very grungy, but I do really like this, and you can tell it has been used. But yeah, so those are the two. And again, I love it because it's the same size as the other two, which makes it very easy to store. I kind of store all the palettes that I have from the same company together if they're the same size, which makes it very, very easy for me, which I like. I have since decluttered all of my other Anastasia palettes. I did that sometime last year, and even including Sultry and Soft Glam. I ended up decluttering all of them, and you know, really haven't missed them. I'll be honest, I haven't missed them. And when this formula came out, I don't think I would. I just don't feel like I missed them. So, but I do really like this formula. But I will say I was very excited when I saw it, when I swatched it. I'm kind of like, I think I'm gonna like it, but my instinct is that I'm not gonna love it as much as I thought. So we'll dig into it right now. And from her website, it just states that it's inspired by explosively sparkling star-filled galaxies. Anastasia Beverly Hills Cosmo Eyeshadow Palette contains 12 pigmented eyeshadows ranging from neutral to turquoise tones in matte and intensely reflective metallic finishes. So the shades, I'm going to go read through all the shades and what the description is. So it's Super Cluster Duochrome Blush Green with Multi-Dimensional Sparkle, Sun, a Duochrome Pink Bronze, Orion Metallic Icy Pink with Gold Sparkle, Mercury Metallic Titanium with Sparkling Reflex, Kesar Duochrome Green Gold with Multi-Dimensional Sparkle, Galaxy, a Matte Deep Blue with Bluish Green Sparkle, Space Dust Matte Sandstone, Comet Matte Toasted Peach, Eclipse Matte Muted Plum, Supernova, a Duochrome Pink Lilac with Multi-Dimensional Sparkle, Mars, a Matte Rusty Brown, and then Dark Matte, a Matte Black Violet. So there you have it. Those are the shades, and as I said, like that one shade has like sparkle, but it's a matte blue, which I didn't even think it was. I guess it looks like it's blue here, but yeah, anxious to try it in. So I am going to. It is late at night. I am going to film. I'm going to do one look on each eye, but I'm going to go probably pretty. Just kind of try and use some of the shades, test it out, kind of more for every day. I have seen a couple other people do the black with like use the black, the dark matter or galaxy, or I guess it's kind of a dark blue as all over the shade, all over the lid, and then go in with one of the duochromes. That looks stunning. They made it look really easy. I'm not doing that on camera because I've never done it before, and they made it look very easy, but I'd rather not ruin the video and see if I can do it. But I'll play around with it, but I definitely want to try it because I saw a couple people try it and do it with different shades. So I think and it looked stunning. So I think that's going to be definitely a way I want to try and use the palette, but I want to do that in my own time, practice, and do that off camera. So, but I'm gonna do a look on each eye, and then definitely do some comparisons because I think I've got some dupes. Maybe not full-on dupes, but I have some palettes in my collection that I think are very similar, and if you have them, you may not need this palette. Okay, so I am gonna start with a transition shade, and I'm gonna start with the shade Space Dust right here and use that as a transition shade all over the lid. I'm going in with a Sigma E25, just kind of all over the lid as a transition shade, and see how this looks. And yeah, I mean, I love the Anastasia mattes. They always blend out really nice. They go on really nice. The new formula I find doesn't have nearly the amount of fallout that the prior formula had. So, and this is no different. It is going on really nice. Okay, next I'm gonna go in with the Eclipse shade right here, and I'm gonna go on the outer corner. This is my Sonia G Crease Pro that I absolutely love. I absolutely love this brush. I got it in a Beautylish Lucky Bag, and I wish I could get 10 more. I just love this brush, but I'm just going to put the Eclipse on the outside, kind of just deepen the outside corner, and then go in on the crease here and just kind of give it a little bit of dimension. Okay, so that went on really well. And I'm gonna go over with a shimmer, so as far as like the lid, it doesn't need to look that clean. Next, I'm gonna go in with this blue shade. So I am gonna go in with the shade Super Cluster, and I am gonna go in first with my finger and see how that works. And I'm just gonna go in all over the lid and, oh, that's really pretty. Okay, yeah, that is really pretty. And it's blue, but it's not like blue. It's not like the Sigma Beachy palette where, I mean, it looked like a beach. Looked like I was wearing the ocean on my eyes, which was really pretty, but this is definitely different. This is really pretty. Okay, so that looks stunning. I love it. Very easy, 3 shades, that's all I did. Basically, this little corner right here is what I used. And I'm not gonna go anything else. I'm just going to go in on the lower lash line with Space Dust all over the lower lash line, and then emphasize the outer corner with Eclipse once I'm done. Okay, so there's a lower lash line with Space Dust, and now I'm gonna go in with Eclipse just on the outer corner and bring it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna take the Rephr 14 and I'm gonna take that Space Super Cluster, and I'm just gonna go in a little bit on the inner corner and then bring it down to the lower lash line a little bit and then bring it down. And that is it. So I am going to do a mascara on this side and come back. Okay, so there I am with the mascara, and I really like the look. Super easy. Probably not as clean as I probably would do it if I were doing it at my vanity, but I think it's very nice. It was very easy. I like the pop of the shimmer. I think I could wear this one the daytime. I think I could wear this one at Disney. I might even bring this palette when I go to Disney later this month. I do really like it. So let's get into a second look. Okay, I have another E25, and this time I'm gonna go in, this shade's a little deeper, so I'm gonna be going very light-handed, is the shade Comet. So I'm gonna go in with Comet. It's definitely gonna be a little deeper than, and just kind of go in very lightly on the transition. But again, the mattes blend out really nicely. So, and the shade, it's a neutral shade. So it's not like, if you mess up with a neutral shade, it's not as bad as like if you just, mess up with like a blue. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with the shade Mars. Again, I cleaned the Crease Pro. Unfortunately, I only have one. So I cleaned it, and I'm gonna go in exactly doing what I did before, just kind of going in on the outer corner. And that is, somebody asked me if I was gonna do a tutorial. I don't really feel comfortable doing a tutorial. Maybe I'll do a get ready with me. I don't really know what to do a get ready with me about. But maybe I will, and I'll kind of do a little bit more. But this is pretty much my standard, the transition shade, going in on the outer edge and then bringing it into the crease to deepen it a little bit. And I'm going very, very light-handed, which is why I'm going back in a couple times, because I want to be careful because these shades are a little darker. But that's kind of my go-to look or eyeshadow look. It's kind of what I've gotten easy to do and what it's just easy for me. So there you go. Okay, so again, I've seen mixed reviews on this palette, both good and bad. So right now, I haven't had any issues. All the 4 mattes that I used went on great. The only matte that I'm questioning is the Dark Matter, which is the one I'm probably not going to be using today. But it's also a matte that I probably wouldn't use a lot anyway. It is a like black velvet, or no, black violet. It's not a shade I would use a lot anyway. So if that, so that's, I'm not too concerned about that one. The other 4 worked great. And I also haven't used Galaxy, but again, that's gonna be one that I'm gonna play around with off camera. But this went on really nice. Definitely, I love the shades, and it's definitely a deeper base than this one. But I do like it. This was Comet and Mars. So let's go in, and I think I'm gonna go in with the shade Supernova at the bottom. It's the one that's kind of eyeing me. And I'll probably go with, to add a 4th shade on this one, is go in with, I guess, Quesar in the inner corner as well. But let's go in with Supernova. I'm gonna go in just on my finger like I did the last time and just put it over most of the lid, but I am not going to go in all the way this time because I am going to leave it in for one of the other shades. Okay, so this is stunning. It's a duochrome. Reminds me a lot of the shade in Utopian Dream, which of course is Pat McGrath, but then it also reminds me of the one in What's a Beauty, the Geodes palette. So that is one of the palettes that I did think about when I thought about, you know, this one. So definitely reminds me of that because that reminds me of the look that I got when I used that palette. So curious about that. Let's go in with, I'm gonna go in with this Quesar, I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm just gonna go in with my pinky finger and go in on the inner corner and then just bring it over. That's really pretty. This is a shade that was someone used over the black, and wow, it was stunning. So it almost looked green as opposed to this. So okay, let me go in now with the lower lash line, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go with the Comet all over the bottom lash, and then go in deeper with Mars. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Okay, and I just went in on the outside with Mars. So there's the look. Let me put on mascara and come back. Okay, and I am back with mascara, and here is the final look for this side. Again, 2 super easy looks, very easy. Blended out great. So I used 4 of the mattes. I used 7 shades of the 12. So 7 of the 12 shades. Definitely gonna play around with it. My first impressions is that it is a good palette, very good palette. However, I will say that I don't think it's as special as I thought. Now, when Nouveau came out, this was like, wow, it was different. The color scoring was different. You got this pop of lavender, and it was definitely different. This one, it's not, it's really pretty, and I think that the mattes work really well. I've seen some people that have had, or at least one person that had trouble. I did not experience that issue. But I think I have these shades. So let's look at some other palettes first. Okay, so the first one I mentioned is the one from What's Up Beauty. Now it's a lot smaller, a lot thinner, and it also has 12 shades, but the pans are a lot smaller. Now I think this one runs 42. The Anastasia Beverly Hills is 55. So it is considerably, you know, the size is different, but these are kind of same theory, right? And I mean, you're kind of in the same realm. So not 1-for-1 dupes, but I think you're gonna get a lot of the similar looks. Now this one also has the black, has that galaxy, which I haven't dug into, so that is something that this palette does not have. But the one I want to kind of take a look at is Supernova, which is the one I have on my one eye. That Supernova, that is the one from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I think the shade is Crystal, is the one that I'm thinking of. So Crystal, I know I loved Earth-like, but I think that's deeper. So I'm gonna go in with Crystal and see. Yeah, very, very similar. So these shades are very similar, and honestly, the What's Up Beauty seemed to go on, like, swatch better. Both went on the eye really great. So this, you know, Supernova went on the eye really great. So that's really what matters, right? Doesn't matter how it swatches, but shades are very similar. So, you know, if you're unsure about the Anastasia, you know, maybe look into What's Up Beauty. They had a sale recently for 40% off of everything. I almost picked up the other palette, but I have so many palettes right now that I'm still going through. I decided not to. But this is a really great palette. So very, very similar, you know, very similar, but, you know, definitely not 1-for-1 dupes. Okay, now I'm gonna do some just side by side by comparisons to two Huda Beauty palettes that I have. So this is Rose Quartz. So Rose Quartz, I heard people suggesting it. Personally, I don't see it. And to me, Rose Quartz is much more cooler toned, whereas this one is more neutral or warm toned. There's definitely some shades. This shade is probably similar, but I think there's different enough. Now the other Huda Beauty palette is one that you can't get anymore. It's discontinued, but it is one of her most popular ones, and it's one that I fell in love with recently. And it is Mercury Retrograde. So again, I don't think it's a one-for-one dupe, but this one is definitely closer in color story. You've got 18 shades as opposed to 12, but you've got a lot more depth in the Anastasia Cosmos palette. So more, colorful options. You've got some more, a teal, a purple that you're not going to get in the Anastasia palette, but you're also going to get more depth. So I'm not concerned that it's too similar for these two. Definitely, could I get similar looks? Yes. But again, this palette is discontinued anyway, so you can't get it. If you have it, I think that's big enough of a difference, but if you have it and you're trying to talk yourself out of it, you're good. Okay, the rest are all Sigma palettes, so I'm gonna go through them really quickly. And again, none of these are, dead on dupes, but just to say, if you have this in your collection, maybe you don't need this one. So here is the Alice in Wonderland. So obviously Alice in Wonderland is much more colorful. So you have a couple shades that are going to be similar, but Alice in Wonderland's much more colorful and not as many of the neutral mattes. So just wanted to share that one. Sticking with Sigma and Disney, we will move on to the Cinderella palette. I love this palette. This palette I just love. And next here we have, now this one is definitely more similar. Definitely more, similar color stories. Now obviously this one's got more color. It's got purple. It's got this green. There's a blue, but the blues are very different. This one has a true dark matte navy, like matte, rather with the glitter. So again, are they one-for-one dupes? No, the mattes are kind of similar. So you have a couple similar mattes. So again, if you have the Cinderella, then you don't need the Cosmos. But if you wanted it, it's definitely different enough. Okay, this next one I haven't even used yet. I picked it up in a recent sale because I've wanted it. It's an older palette, but I've wanted it, and I haven't even used it yet. But kind of thought of it was the Sigma Enchanted. Again, so similar. Like this one has a lot more mattes, but you're gonna have a lot of the deeper mattes like you do. Not as colorful with the Super Cluster and what was it, the Orion and Supernova, but you got a lot of shimmers here. So again, I haven't used this palette, so I can't really compare. I don't think any of these are duochromes to my knowledge, but again, there's definitely some similarities here. So if you have the Enchanted and you're trying to talk yourself out of it, you probably have a lot of dupes. And finally, a palette that I think is underrated is the Sigma Diana Saldana. This came out late in 2022. So again, here is some comparison. So you've got this blue up here, so which is similar, same type of thing. A lot of the mattes, this one has a lot more mattes, a matte selection. Obviously you have 18 shades compared to 12. So you have a lot more comparison. Not gonna have those duochromes that you have in the ABH, but very, very complementary color story, I guess you could say, or similar. So if you do end up having the Diana Saldana, you probably, don't need this. You're probably going to get a lot of the similar looks. However, with these duochromes in the ABH palette, I don't really see that in any of the Sigma palettes. So that's the difference. But if you, aren't really into that sparkle, then, maybe the Cosmos isn't for you. Okay, so that's it. That is kind of why I thought that my initial reaction is that this palette isn't necessarily special. Now that I've used it and I've done 2 looks, I'm almost disagreeing with myself on my initial impressions. Is that not that it's special, but I think it is a little bit more special than I thought, right? The duochromes are really nice. Now, I am not an indie brand makeup person. I like buying stuff at Ulta or Sephora or on the brand websites. I just don't shop at a lot of the indies. Maybe that will change. And it probably will as I get into makeup. But, you know, I think it's a really good palette, but is it a must-have? No. And I would say is if you're trying to talk yourself out of it, look in your collection, because a lot of these shades are very similar, and you might have palettes that I don't that are very similar. So, but if you like it, definitely, I think it's worth it. $55 is not cheap, but it's not the most expensive, and you can usually find a promo code somewhere or wait for a sale. Wait for a sale. There's always sales, and you know, wait for a sale, and then I think it's definitely worth it. Or you could wait for the Alter Ego dupe to come out, which, you know, will eventually probably come out. But anyway, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye, everyone.